When we thought about the problem with central lines, and this has been a national problem, lots of infections, lots of immediate complications from central line placement. And historically, central lines have been done by physicians, almost exclusively. And so we started thinking, we've got this ultrasound technology that has made it so much safer. You can actually see what you're doing when you place the line. And we know that that's created a radical improvement in our safety profile, even here at Banner, in training residents. And so we started thinking, who is the right person to place those lines?
It is a procedural skill. It's one that requires some technical skill as well as some degree of knowledge base, but they were all skills that could be learned and knowledge that could be acquired by those who are not physicians.
Respiratory therapists are very task-oriented. They are deployed throughout the hospital to take care of primarily, historically, respiratory tasks. And so we started thinking, if we put this technology that makes this procedure so safe, and we train them in this technology using ultrasound to find the vein so they can accurately, first time, place a central line, how would that look? This was a bold step. I mean, nobody at the time that I'm aware of was thinking in that way. But we did a study, we did a trial, and what we found is that if you put ultrasound in the hands of a respiratory tech, they are just as good as physicians in terms of their ability to place that line and the safety profile. That was a revelation to us.
So a respiratory therapist is pretty highly trained in areas of the thorax, which is all about the central lines. So really the only thing the therapist has to learn, and I think that would be the same for any discipline, is the techniques to get access. And the complications and indications, obviously there's a breadth of knowledge that needs to be learned there. But looking at things, catheters in the chest, is in a respiratory therapist's wheelhouse, I believe.
So a robust program was developed to impart the skills necessary to place those lines safely and consistently, and limit the number of practitioners who would be doing so in such a manner that they would do this on a very frequent basis, which would maintain their competence, would enable us to deploy any recent scientific changes in the approach that's needed for safe central venous catheter placement to a limited group of practitioners that could place these consistently, safely, and using best practices at any time of the day. Because respiratory therapists are staffing our facilities 24/7, it was a continuously available resource and would not rely on bringing additional staff in, and would allow us to place those catheters in a very timely manner.
Our whole goal is to standardize the practice, standardize the supplies, standardize the measurement, standardize the team, so that it is inserted the same way every time. We try to reduce that variability as much as possible, because the more variables you have, the more chances for infection, thrombus, the incorrect line, mechanical complications, pneumothorax, hemothorax, and really none of those things happened. We ended up having, we implemented the program using nothing but ultrasound. No blind sticks were allowed, and have started with a small team, kind of expanded on that, and the complications were perfect. And our collapse rates we've had years where all central lines, PICC lines, port access have been 0. So we've had some good years.
As far as the data that we experienced after the initiation of our respiratory therapy guided central venous catheter placement program, I can say that compared to the pre-2007 period when all central lines were placed by physicians, we experienced a decrease in complications such as iatrogenic pneumothorax by about 1/3 of what they were under physician placement. We also experienced a generalized decrease in the incidence of central line associated bloodstream infections, below our target for the system and significantly lower than it had been in prior years under a physician-only approach.
Sonocide is helping us think about strategies to increase the adoption of this technology that, frankly, it's all about the triple aim. It is more affordable, it's a better patient experience, and it leads to better outcomes. What else could you ask for? That's what we're trying to do.